As a boy, if you go out and you come back full of mud, itakuwa tu aki watoto, aki vijana, utaingia tu uoshwe. Msichana ingia kwa nyumba kika the same thing, ataulizwa na wewe ni msichana, kutakuwa na hiyo added statement. Wewe ni mchafu, lakini unajichafuaje kama kijana? Unaona? You start being taught very early that there's a certain way a woman is supposed to carry themselves. And those limitations, they affect how far you can explore. So what are some of the negative effects of sexism? Do they affect society? Where do you draw the line between sexism and gender roles? Let me say, because that's where we're headed. We've outlined that there's a natural aspect to this, that a lot of it has to do with how we're raised. So is that nurturing? Can it be improved? Should both genders be exposed to both sides so that they can be allowed to choose? Or should we just stick to what we know works and keep women in homely, kitcheny things and keep guys outside and playing and exploring?
Let me say something about that. Let me chime in.
Mm-hmm.
As my friend Jesse would say, there's in the Bible, the institution of marriage was born, or God ordained it, between a man and a woman, because there are complementary things that a man has that would complement a woman's characteristics, and the vice versa is true. So naturally, men used to go to war. Men used to go out there, seek, toil, sweat, and provide for the woman to now build on what the man has brought home. Now, fast forward to the 21st century, a typical man goes out there, toils, sweats, looks for our daily bread to bring back home for the wife to now build on what the man has brought. But now, that narrative has now changed to the man will go, look, bring here, woman go, look, bring here. Now we discuss on how we are going to build it together. That is very much okay. I'm not against it. But then, here's the thing. A man will come, bring whatever he's gotten to the table. But then, will he have the time and the grace and the understanding to build whatever it is that he's brought to a certain place where he wants to get without the input of the wife? Because many a times, the wife will go look and whatever she gets is hers. What is yours is mine, and what is mine is mine. That is mostly the narrative with women. So now, women, when they become wives, they become homemakers. The man provides a house and the woman makes it a home. That's why many a times issues to deal with the kids, the house, the nini, inakwanga mom ndo anadeal nayo. Kwa sababu women have that particular capacity to deal with, those two tiny bits that now join up to make this big unit, this large unit that now the man is the head over.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So now, for me, sexism and all this, gender equality and whatnot, fine, I will very much support it, because fine, the women want to be heard, the women want to be treated in a manner likely to suggest that they are heard or they are accepted for who they are and they want to live their lives comfortably. But that is not the reality. The reality is that some things men will do that will upset a woman, and that is life, and that is the reality of life. That is how we are going to live.
There's something
moving forward. However much we try to speak on on sijui, let us now listen to the girl child, let us now support the girl child nini, we will support the girl child, and the girl child now becomes a woman, atapitia now the issues that she was pitiaing pro max.
The thing, like, what issues would do you think, like, when you're saying maybe the girl child, this issues that she has, what issues are you thinking about?
Aya. Number one, let us start with the dress code. Let us start with the dress code. Many a times, Ashori will say, I'm wearing like this to please myself because I'm feeling more comfortable with my body and how I look and whatnot. Putting into consideration, or maybe not putting into consideration, that men are visual creatures. So once a man sees what he likes, he will approach. And then Ashori now starts claiming, we are not being given this space, we are not being treated sijui how I cannot walk in town comfortably because some guy is preying on my thighs. Honestly speaking, fine, you address your choice, and you are dressing to the comfortability of your body and whatnot. But then you also need to deal with the consequences that comes with that dressing.
Which,
and that is
maybe
something.
what?
The preying of very immature men, unfortunately, they are there. But then you'll have to deal with such consequences. It's not like you're not being treated equally. Because honestly speaking, there's some guys who are very good looking and are going to experience the same thing. Jamaa amekaa tu chini amedishi food yake kwa restaurant, and then a waitress is now flirting with the guy. Na yeye alikuwa ametulia na deal na stresses zake za maisha.
Hapo kwa my dress my choice, to be honest, I'll agree with you because my perspective inakuanga a lot of modern day feminism is, what a man can do, a woman can do. And the problem I have with that statement is that it subconsciously makes men the standard that we are aspiring towards. It's like, instead of aspiring to achieve my best self as a woman, I'm looking at the man and comparing myself and using him to measure my value and my worth. I measure myself by how much am I able to compete with this man, and that limits myself in some ways. But even by that argument, if I dress the way I want because even men I should dress the way I want because even men are allowed to dress the way they want. Truth is, guys, how many men do you see walking in town shirtless? How many men do you see walking in town in a vest? In fact, the general perception of a vest is either umetoka match, like you're either a basketballer or when ni mtu wa mjengo, because those are the only two spheres or instances where we see men without their shirts on. Someone pointed out how men addressed the issue of dressing, especially in the workplace, is they gave themselves a uniform. And I'd never seen it like that before. Like the same way there's a uniform for the army, there's a uniform for security guards and everything else. They decided even in the office, to keep things simple, there's a uniform. Everyone comes in a suit. The color of your shirt, you can decide all those things, but it has to be a suit. And this is how a suit generally fits. But women are in this particular group of women who are using men as a standard, don't also want to conform to that part. Because it's a solution that can very easily be applied to women as well. We can also decide, you know what, for the purposes of the office, this is our dress code. It's comfortable for everyone. It looks good on everyone. Just this is what we wear, just to keep things simple, especially. And there's what you wear to the gym. There's what you wear going to the shop. Those are completely different instances. Where your dress becomes an issue is when you're going to a gathering or an institution that has a purpose. So if you're coming to church, if you're going to work, if you're going to a ratio, each of those gatherings, there tends to be a general theme and a general dress code. So when you disregard what has been put in place by society, and it's been put in that place for a reason, just because you feel like showing your thighs and you love your thighs, to me that's a very self-centered
Exactly.
approach.
Exactly.
Your thighs are beautiful. No one is refusing. We're not telling you to be ashamed of your thighs. The reason we want you to hide them is because they're so beautiful and you're going to distract people from what they're supposed to be focusing on,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But now, I want to go back to something that Kakenya mentioned at the beginning, which is how she will not be taken seriously at work because she's a woman in a male-dominated profession. So that becomes a very big problem because statistically, there are more male engineers than female engineers, right? So if you look at it like from a probability point of view, then the best engineers are more likely to be male just because there's a bigger pool to choose from. But that doesn't mean that there aren't impeccable and impressive female engineers. The problem with that perspective, yeah, women don't do these things, is that this female engineer, even though she is just as brilliant and just as gifted as the male, will be looked down on, and she'll have to work twice, 3 times as hard to receive the same level of recognition as the male engineer. How do you solve that problem?
I think also just to add on what like Jason was saying, sort of to just build on that. Sometimes I think we shift our focus from the main thing. And unfortunately, that's the society that we live in. You know, it could be a lot of things in this, like even technology-wise, gender-wise. And I think that's why even feminism, if you say today you're a feminist, it's very negative. You know, it's not something to be celebrated. It's a very negative, it has a very negative connotation. But I also think that we human beings are also selfish. Everyone is selfish. They want to twist an idea, including the Bible. So many people have twisted the Bible, and that's why you have so many cults, because people are just following this one person. And Jesus said he's the way, the truth, and the life. But someone will come and find that way and twist it and try to tell you, now you should look to me to get to the Lord. You understand? And I think also that's the same thing that has been done with feminism, sexism, and gender discrimination. And a lot of people really don't have facts and data. A lot of people, either you talk out of a reaction, you're like, no. Now I'm reacting because maybe I am the woman, or you're the man because you've just heard, or you've seen, or social media nowadays is really influencing a lot of our opinions and what you're saying, but you're not really going back to read. So like, for instance, say about something about gender and sexism, both from a male and a female perspective. To start with the female perspective, the thing is, feminism is not saying that we want, like, as women to be equal to the men. What that man can do, even men can do better. Like, because that's usually what is very much portrayed everywhere. See, you think you can be an engineer, I can be a better engineer than you. You think you can be a doctor, even me can be a better doctor. No, that's not what feminism is. That's not what gender and women empowerment is. What gender equality, I think many people confuse gender equality with being equal. A lot of people actually think being equal is equality. Those are two very different words, because being equal means you are of the same, same size, same quantity, same space, same level. But the thing is, I was even having a discussion sometime back, even with Jason, and I was saying that all these things, even the when you say dress code, the workplace, all of these things are secondary. They come from something that influences it. And the thing about gender equality is to have equal representation, equal rights, equal, like, in a place where,
Now, what are those equal rights?
like, say, like, equal rights is, for instance, let's even use what you've said, like driving. Yeah. Very many women, even still to date, by the way, in the Middle East, they're not allowed to drive. And that's just because, you're a woman. you can't drive. You cannot be trusted to carry people in a car. You understand? Just because.
Do you know why?
Mhm.
Do you know why?
No, I don't.
You don't know
Please tell me why.
why? Okay. So,
Mhm.
imagine you have a female driver. Now, Silas, you can back me up on this. And you guys are like 2 guys, 2 shories in a car. And then now this shori does a swerve move. On a normal day, there's a time you're going to hepa someone that has done something. Because in driving, you're told, imagine that the next guy, the guy in front of you or the guy behind you, is a drunk driver. So you're the sober one. So you drive soberly. So mtu atafanya kitu ufala hapo mbele yako, so utamhepa. So this guy akwambia, rada nini. The first instinct a woman will do ni kukuwa emotional about it. I know what I'm doing. What are you telling me? I can drive. Ashaanza kukatch feeling. Mjamaa rada bro nini. Ujiona mjamaa nini? Mnacheka, mnasonga. First instinct ya shori ata catch feelings juu mjamaa nampasha. Do you think I don't know how to drive? I know how to drive.
But how many girls are those? You know, I think how many people have you or women have you met? Like how many of the mothers, even those who come even to this church, have you ever experienced and you're like, no, that's just very emotional. Because I've also experienced that. It's both sides, and that's what I'm trying to say. Is there women who react like that, and equally I've been in cases where men just go all ballistic, and you're wondering
Men
what.
are actually more likely to exhibit road rage than women.
And the women who are
Road
calm.
rage to other drivers, not to some guy seated next to them.
It's still an emotional response.
It's still an
Sindio?
emotional response.
So then why you look at yourself discriminating?
Because
That's discrimination.
Yeah,
No,
because both parties
Yeah,
are having
it's
an
both
emotional
parties.
response.
It's not just now. It's just the
It's a-
way.
it's
So
an
why
em-
is my emotional response negative, and your
Negative.
emotional
because
response
let
is
me tell you,
justified?
chances are when I'm having that rage towards that other driver, atashika laini. So you having an emotional response to the guy seated next to you, how is it helping the road be much more safer?
How are you?
But have you-
How
How?
is that making the road safer?
How is it making the road?
Seen
I
drivers
will
deliberately
caution that
hit
other
another
driver.
car
I will
because
caution
they're
that other
angry.
driver or driver ata to the line.
Hata toe the line.
Wewe ukinitetesha na niko tu hapa kando yako, I'm basically being a chilled co-driver here and I'm caring for my life and the lives of the 2 guys seated at the back. Alafu huu unaanza kukatch feelings.
Imagine hakuna mwenye amesaidia situation kati ya watu wawili.
Kunayo.
No, Silas, no, you be the determining factor here. Mmoja amekasirika kagongesha gari ya mwingine juu huyo alikuwa anaendesha vibaya. Because I've seen that happen. Or you see a driver, unaona like stubborn pedestrians on the road, right? Kuna driver mwenye atakugonga mkono on purpose na side mirror ndio utoke kwa barabara. Una get? Yes, is that an emotional response? Normally what you're supposed to do is hoot ndio pedestrian atoke, si ndio? Sasa huyu amegonga mtu, huyu amekasirika. In fact both parties are angry. Kwa nini mmoja ako allowed kuwa angry na mwingine hayuko allowed?
Tuseme, in terms of anger management issues.
Yeah, it's not about gender.
Yeah.
It has
It's
nothing
not
Yeah.
a gender
Mazee,
thing.
kwa
to do
sababu-
with gender. It's
Yeah,
lawful.
inalingana tu vile una control anga yako but nasema kama msee anafanya kazi poa ufai kumdiscriminate in terms of gender anafaa kuwa credited kama msee anafanya kazi poa but hii story ya kusema naona kama Middle East we unasema hawapei iko rights sasa tuseme unafaa kukubali in terms of sexism haifai kuwa defined in terms of right hiyo ni role ukuwa dem na ukuwa chali but hiyo haifai kuwa kuingililia na rights tunafaa kuwa all kupewa equal rights za kudrive sindo kila mtu
Of which
adrive
wamepewa.
but but sasa unaona hii story ya equal rights tunafaa kupatiwa kila mtu dem anafaa drive but sasa mi sasa issue yangu inakaa hivi dem issue yangu inakaa hivi Jason ameuliza dem in terms akijam huyo next person matakuwa amekaa naye hapo atakuwa victim, atakuwa victimized na makosa si yake, unaona.
Exactly.
Sasa mbona anamrushia ngori?
Juu-
But how
No,
many?
you
You guys
I
have
want
not.
data.
You guys have not
You're
understood my
speaking on your
scenario.
opinion.
You guys have
What-
not understood
what
my
is
scenario.
statistical
A male
data?
driver. No, the same question. Male and female driver. Yeah. Male driver anaulizwa, boss, hiyo ni nini umefanya? Nini? Namwambia, nimehepa hivi kwa sababu nilikuwa nahepa huyu jamaa anafanya 1 2 3. Sasa alikuwa namhepa. O jamaa, jamaa ni fala. We move on. Kesi imeisha. Same question to a female driver. Bro, kwa nini umefanya hivi? No, catch feelings.
Anakwambia utashuka hata hii gari.
Alafu unaanza kunitetea. Nakushukisha hapo mbele.
Swali ya Gakenya
Nakushukisha
ni-
hapo mbele. Kwa
How
nini
many
udem
women
ata catch
actually
feelings?
respond like
Sasa
that?
Okay, the thing is, I actually agree, Jason, that there are women who respond like that. What I'm just trying to say is both men and women respond like that. It's not a chick. Me, if I am in such a situation, and even the people who are around me that I've seen, both of them, be it male or female, it's just sort of how do you manage anger? How do you manage conflict? It just comes to that. It has nothing to do with gender. It just has to do with you. And sometimes it's very easy to perceive just because someone has vocally spoken about something, now they're being emotional, and just because you're seated and you said, no, umse, amepita tu, that you're not being emotional.
So that's being emotionless.
No, it's not being emotionless. That's what I'm saying. It's a perception. Because all of you are exhibiting emotions, just that the other person has spoken about it either more or less. And this could be either the guy or it could be the chick. Because you see, the fact that you've hit somebody else's car, or, so many times men are the ones who are caught in fights, Cindy, like physically. You understand? That's a show of emotion. That's anger. That's rage. But it's because we have first a twisted understanding of what the word emotion is. Jason, what do you think emotion is?
No,
Si
many a
emotion, hiyo ni
times,
disrespect.
we-
Mnasoma mangumi.
men demand respect. There's a difference between ati nimekasirika sana pigo mjamaa mangumi. Uongo. Huyu jamaa amenikosea heshima. Acha nimwonyeshe heshima vile inapeanwa. Namweka mawantu
But
anashika rada.
Like what has
That is
moved
nothing
you?
to do with anger.
Do you know?
That has nothing to
Tukisema
do
in terms
with
of anger na emotions, it's easy to work na boss mwanaume kuliko dem.
No, I don't agree.
Kwa sababu dem anaweza kuja tu amejam tu hivyo from
Amejam
nowhere.
na mashiro,
Anakuuliza
alafu
umeniangalia
anakuambia,
aje. Anakupea resignation paper. Kesho ukuti job. Na mimi hiyo kitu imehappen, nimeona. Like tuseme boss amekuja from nowhere, mlikuwa mnawak na yeye fiti. Sasa era kidogo imehappen kwa job. Ananga second dot. Dem sijui kama anaamini msi anaweza change. Sijui kama hizo. Yani akijam, asha jam. Yani dem akijam hata kama ni job, anasa walikuwa job. Hiyo kitu happen na si mara moja nimeona.
Have you experienced that? Like, have you ever been fired by like a female boss because she was just
na
angry
by
and she
hiyo makosa
fired
nilikuwa
you?
nimefanya kama makosa kidogo kuliko hiyo job ya nilienda nikalanda after hiyo job niliresign hiyo job na ni juu tu ya stress yake ya familia alileta kwa job. Sasa ikabidi mi hatuwezi work kama
So
una
you're saying that men don't do the same thing?
men
I
hawezi
think-
leta
Okay,
stress
Okay,
za
and
home kwa
I
job.
think
Hiyo
also
na
kitu
siwezi
yenye
happen.
nataka kuuliza,
Unless-
Feelings
I
zetu
think
ziko na
the thing I
boundaries.
want to also
Tunajua
ask,
feelings za kutoa
Eh.
the
time ya
thing I
job
also want to ask
na
is,
feelings za kutoa tukiwa home.
how many female bosses have you worked for who have fired you based on emotions?
Nimewak
I
na
don't have the
mmoja.
capacity
Moja.
to answer that
How
question.
many female bosses, Jason, have you worked with who have fired you based on emotions? Like they're just angry, they fired you. How many? Because for you to say women, you've worked for say 20, 100 bosses. That's what I'm saying. How many of them have you worked
But
for?
seen
They have to
experience.
at least be
No female
multiple.
boss
They
has
have to at
fired
least
me.
be
So
two
you
or
have
For
no
obvious
basis for
reasons.
saying that statement? Or are you basing it on maybe an opinion you've had?
Mimi, si Silas ndo
Eh,
amesema.
mimi niko na
Si
reason.
No. What Gakenya is saying is that for it to be taken as that now this is a true observation, it has to be based on ndio maana hata hizi studies they use a large number of people, so that you rule out the individual aspect.
Okay,
That
let me
is
give
one
you-
woman.
I have a
If he
friend-
had told me that he's worked for 3 different women and all of them have fired him for flimsy
There's a
reasons
consistency,
just
you
because
understand?
wangekuwa
You
enyewe
want
wanawake
3
wako na
different
shida.
women. That was one woman that fired Silas. I have a friend that was fired because he didn't accept to be a Kabenten.
Uh-huh.
How many women have been fired
That
by
is
men
woman
because they
number two.
refused? No.
Woman number 2. What was the reason why that boy was fired? Feelings.
Feelings.
That is not a feeling.
Feelings.
Now let me. I
You
think
do not want to conform to my feelings
I
of
have worked
infatuation.
also for a couple of. I've worked with a couple of female bosses, like say the people who are above me.
No,
are
it's
10.
not the same. You're Ashori, it's not the same.
No, I'm
Okay,
telling you. I'm telling
The
you what I've
struggle is
actually
real for the men
experienced.
out here.
Sasa
I
amepeana
have
experience
worked.
yake. Let
Me, I'm
Wakenya
giving
give her
also my experience.
Aye.
And I've worked for a couple of male bosses, and I've worked with a lot, even though they're not bosses like directly above me, especially in construction. I have worked with a lot of men who are in charge of something in their own space. And what I can tell you for sure, it's not a female or a male issue. That's why I was asking you for data. It's just at the bottom of it. How do you manage conflict? Have you learned? Have you worked on that? That's why I was saying most of the things, even about gender, that we say, they're really not based. Because if I sit you here and say, Michelle, now tell me, how much data do you have? Or Gakenya or Jason or Sila, how many people do you know who have done this? Most of us hear it from people, and then you see one person doing it, and it's a conditioning of the human brain, and you go with it. So what I'm trying to say is, even with what I was talking earlier about gender equality, is it's not like something that just comes out of the blues. You understand? We all have very we've misconceptualized the whole idea of what sexism and gender is, and that's why even you would expect a man to drive, but not all men can drive. There are people who are not comfortable driving. So what does that boy do? You
Najua mtu.
understand?
I have another
So-
Najua
scenario
mtu
from
mwenye hayuko
Bible.
comfortable kudrive.
Unajua what made Ahab au yule mwenye alikuwa na own the vineyard alimada juu ya nani? Juu ya
Bibi
Jezebel.
yake. Haya,
Jezebel
acha
alileta
nikupatie
feelings
ingine.
akamwambia
Unajua mwanamke
Exactly.
anaitwa Abigail kwa Biblia?
Ona,
Do
Samson
you know?
alinyolewa nywele kwa nini? Feelings.
Cheki, listen.
Feelings.
There's a wise lady called Abigail whose husband survived because of her wisdom. Bwana yake ndio alikuwa na utoto. Bwana yake ndio alikuwa na ufala.
That is a
Huyu
rare
ndio akakaa
species.
chini ati
Rare species.
rare species.
Rare species.
The thing is also, let's even say kama Ahab, you understand? Ahab, even wachana na Naboth's vineyard, how many atrocities did Ahab commit?
Before killing.
Before him.
The only reason why
He
God's
killed-
prophet stands out because it's God's prophet.
Yeah. How many things did this, even the men in the Bible and even the women? What I'm trying
We are
to
not
say.
saying Ahab was perfect. We're just saying
We're just
his
saying
most
what?
famous mistake was done because of feelings.
No, it's not
That's
the
what we've
famous
just said.
mistake. It's just what you know. And that's what I'm telling you, Jason, and everyone.
It's what was
It's-
recorded.
it's-
Kama Mungu alitaka kutuambia vitu nyingi, angeongeza chapter zingine kwa ndo tujue Ahab
na
vile alikuwa
bado
ameanguka.
alikuwa ana mada prophets kwa sababu ya false gods wa Jezebel. Unaona, ilikuwa too based on the feelings.
Sasa pia
But then I
Solomon
think-
basi alifanya ufala juu ya madem.
Si
Solomon.
ndio? Si Bible inasemaga alileta gods mademu wake kwa tempo.
So nikuulize,
Unaona,
nani
so
alimtuma?
tulikuwa
No,
based
no,
on the
actual
feelings.
Nani
acts.
alimtuma?
No,
No.
the wisest man on
Who
earth
sent him?
fell because of a woman's
sent
feelings.
him? Who sent him? Because when you look at the Old Testament in the in Deuteronomy, there is a whole chapter that is about when Israel was demanding for a king. Before God eventually told them, fine, take a king, he gave them a list, like a whole constitution-ish, that this is what your king should do, so that you make sure you don't end up like other kingdoms. And one of those things is that you're not supposed to marry from other kingdoms. You're not supposed to worship false gods. Solomon, as an individual, had broken so many of God's laws that led him to marrying those women. God had told Israel, don't make treaties with other kingdoms. Why was he marrying women from other kingdoms? To make treaties with them against God's will. So, why are you blaming the woman? She was just chilling in her kingdom, a princess waiting to be married. Solomon comes and marries her. And since you've married me where I come from, we worship Baal. So I also want you to worship Baal as my husband. You are the one who came and fetched me. Why are you blaming the
I
woman?
want you to
Why you
No. I want you to.
I want you to worship Baal.
Be-
Does
because
he have a choice? Did he have a choice of all the women in Israel? Surely. Of all the women
Of
in
course, he
Israel.
had a choice. He had a choice to have multiple women, and he took that.
And he to have multiple women from Israel. He is the one who went to look for idol worshipping women and marry
Do you
them.
blame him
It's
for
not
looking
the
for a place to
women's
plant his
problem.
seed?
It's not.
Don't blame a man for looking for pleasures, Bana.
No. That's like planting
We are naturally
maize and
predators.
getting angry
We
at
look
that
for
piece of land
a
because it
potential
produced
prey
maize.
and we go for
ulipanda
it.
mahindi.
I
Eh?
think also the thing is, Jason, and with this Ahab story also, ni kufikiria in the context of, in the biblical times, women had no say. I think we have to all understand that. Women had no say. And this can even be either historically, you go and read it, like behind, or even like someone like Esther, what Esther had to do for her to be like to go to the king. You as a woman, you could not tell anything to the king. You were very, very subjective to that king. So by the time a king is doing something, they're doing it because they want to, not because they were influenced even by their kids, even by their counselors. No, a king was very powerful. So whatever decisions they were making, it was based on their own volition, So it's even a matter of the state of the heart. You understand? It's just you. Even when we're talking about all these things about hitting someone and CG complaining, when you've not worked on yourself, when you've not worked on your relationship with God, when you don't know what love is, you will portray it in the worst ways possible. And if gender is in play, and you will just go on and on, and you will say, oh, this and this, you will find somewhere to let out the emotions that you have pent up. Yeah.
So, question to you. You said that king was very much powerful, yeah? And he did things because he wanted to. So Ahab wanted to kill Naboth.
Let me do you know why
Yeah,
he had
he
to kill
wanted-
Naboth?
He wanted to.
Here's
Yes.
what happened. Let's go back to the story.
Hey.
What happened? Ahab's daughter
Hey.
danced very wonderfully.
Hiyo ni
And
story ya
Ahab
Herod.
was so sorry. Oh, nime mix stories mbili.
Kwa
But
nini?
anyway,
Juu ya?
sorry. Juya? Sema.
Unajua hiyo ni
Sema.
story
Sema
ingine.
usikike mbele ya watu. Sorry, anyway. If he didn't want to, why did he do it?
Who?
Ahab.
Angekosa kufanya
Alikuwa
ungedeal na
convinced
Jezebel na feelings
na
zake.
Jezebel.
Nikuulize mwenye
Unadhani
no,
Toria
the
alisema
king who
sezi
married
wa
Esther.
Jezebel juu ya
What
nini?
happened? See, he killed his previous queen because she defied him. That's how powerful a king is.
Esther,
Ndio Esther olewe
king-
na huyo king.
the king of success, yeah.
Huyo ni mwingi. We are talking about Ahab,
No,
bana.
the point is how powerful a king is.
Ahab was a king still.
Exactly. So if he didn't want to do it, he wouldn't
Why are you
have.
bypassing Ahab?
That's what I'm talking about.
I think at
What?
the end of the day, it's a matter of the state of your heart. It has nothing to do with whether you are a man, whether you are a woman, whether it's just, even in this case, the state of your heart. And what are you feeding yourself? Like, what are the things you're feeding yourself to? Because as I said before, social media is really influencing. Even when you're saying and giving even those examples for, women are reactive, or a female boss will just fire you. And the way I asked, it was just either one boss or you've never worked for a female boss. Or even me, I can say, male bosses are like this and like this. But it's because I've had it so many times, it becomes a reality. And I think the thing that we really all should focus on is first to try and understand at the core of it, what is sexism? What does discrimination look like? Because most of us don't even know what discrimination for a woman looks like. It could be, and what gender equality, or what patriarchy is. So you just know it's this idea, but then when someone tells you, you're picking so many things, and the same thing applies to even men, you understand? And you're just hearing, a man should not do this, or women are like this, and you perpetrate that without even knowing what you're talking about. And when maybe someone asks you, okay, so please tell me with facts, tell me with data, aside from social media, or aside from, we don't know what we are really talking about. And I think those are one of the things, even in this society, that we really need to be careful. Don't just catch things and run with it. Investigate it. Where did it come from? Why even in this case, say, is it that male people are doing this role, or female people are doing, why is it that women keep saying they are not represented? Why, that's where we should be coming from, and not, women are already like this, men are already like this, let us just leave. And obviously, at the end of the day, the standard is the Bible, because the word of God has everything that we would want. And many people have twisted, including even men, women should not speak. There's actually a verse like that in, is it Timothy or something? But what's the context? The bottom of it is to understand. And when your focus is more of, I want to get to the heart of this matter, I want to understand, and then I want to see, what is God saying really about this thing? What is this? This is what people are saying, but really at the heart of it, what is it that is at the bottom of it? I think that's when we'll move, because we can always be in this circus of, you're right, I'm wrong, this and this and this, and you think you're just, championing for something that's not there, or you think you're stronger than I am, and it will not. It, at the end of the day, no one will find a solution, and we'll be in the same place. So we should strive to do that, and also just go back to, what does God really say? Not what does your pastor say, not what does your cell group leader say, but what does God say? Yeah.
I completely agree with everything that you said. And also, I like that you keep going back to data and statistics, because there's and I think, I don't know if it's Norway, but a Scandinavian country where they have really perfected gender equality and equality in terms of equal opportunities. So everyone is allowed to do whatever they want, and everyone is equally exposed to both sides of the spectrum.
I think it's Denmark, if I'm not
Yeah.
so wrong. Yeah.
And then what the curious thing that happened is that women still gravitated towards feminine careers, and male naturally gravitated to masculine careers. It's not to say that there are no female engineers in that country, or there are no male nurses. They're there because people are different. People have different interests. But it shows that there is a gender aspect to some of these things, that men are more likely to be interested in matters engineering, and women are more likely to be interested in matters people, But what that has done is, it has allowed the women who are interested in engineering to go into it without having to face any discrimination or having to go against the grain, and the same opportunity for men. So what I think we're trying to say is, deal with me as I am. The same way when we were talking earlier about homosexuality, we said it doesn't come up in an interview who you sleep with, so that we can know whether you're suited for this job. Similarly, it shouldn't be relevant whether I'm a man or a woman if I'm suitable for a job. Look at my work. Judge me by my work, by who I am. Maybe all the 5 women you've dealt with in the past have been just horrible, emotional people, but that doesn't mean that I am. Okay? So if you come at me with that attitude that women are like this, you won't take me seriously, and you'll miss out on a very skilled human being because you have a misconception about women. So at the end of the day, we deal with each other as individuals. You set that prejudice aside, and you yes, basically, yes, just deal na mwenye uko nayo hapo.
So,
Deal na mwenye uko
I
nayo
wanted
hapo.
to add something.
Eh.
At the end, both male and female, we will still coexist in this society, and we all need each other, sindo? Na sa tusiangalie our difference as weakness, tunafaa kuzitake as roles obvious, kwa sababu mwanaume hakuna siku itafika akuwe na feelings na emotions kama dem, na mwanaume pia anahitaji dem ili tu coexist. Unaona kitu kaa hiyo. Niko nasoma certain article inasema men are hivyo tu naturally aggressive, dominant, na individualist. But madem wako naive, compassion na caring. So sometimes all times tunahitaji coexist, exist wote. So unafaa embrace weakness hiyo mwingine so that tunaweza ishi fiti kwa hii society.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think in conclusion, when God created Adam and Adam had finished naming all the animals and he was just chilling over there, God saw that Adam was lonely and he needed a companion. And God being a supreme being and God being Alpha and Omega, he saw the need for man to have a woman in his life. So there's a certain element that a woman provides in the life of a man that enables a man to prosper and to progress from one level to another. And there's no way you're going to experience that particular progression in life if you do not view or see a woman in that light, in a light where I'm seeing this particular lady as help, as someone that is going to help me move from point A to point B, from level 1 to level 2. And if you're so into that narrative where this is a guy thing, this is a manly thing to do, and this is not a space where a woman should be, invited or should be accommodated, then it's your loss. Honestly, it's your loss. And with that being said, I'm not against the female gender in as much as I may have portrayed that particular narrative, but I'm very much for the female gender. I'm very much for equal opportunities, for men to start seeing women as capable beings and not as incapable beings that need to be sorted out each and every single time. Yeah, and basically this whole story of sexism shouldn't even have existed in the first place if we just looked at women the same way God looked at man and said, hey, this guy needs help. This guy needs a companion. He needs someone to walk with and talk to and, experience life with. And if we just saw it like that, then women would not have all these problems with men that they have today. And because time is running out, I want to thank Gakenya and Silo for joining us in our episode today. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications. Follow us on TikTok. TikTok imeshika bana, kumewaka huko, mambo imechemka. And with that being said, cheers.